You don't hate people, you just started noticing things you can't unsee, and that's when everything began to feel different. Not all at once, not in a dramatic way, just slowly, quietly, like something in your mind shifted and never went back. Conversation started feeling strange, not because people changed but because you started paying attention in a way you never did before. You began to notice the pauses in people's words, the way their tone didn't always match what they were saying, the way their personality would slightly change depending on who they were around. At first it didn't mean much, but over time it became impossible to ignore. You started seeing patterns, predicting reactions, understanding what someone was about to say before they even said it, and once that happens, everything begins to feel less natural and more like a script. It's not that people are fake in some obvious way, it's deeper than that. People adjust, they mirror, they respond based on what fits the moment, not always what's real. And once you start seeing that, you can't go back to just enjoying conversations the way you used to. Small talk starts to feel empty, laughter feels forced, and being around people begins to drain you in a way you can't fully explain. You find yourself sitting in a room full of people and still feeling alone, not because you want to be alone, but because you can't connect the same way anymore. You listen, you respond, but internally it feels like you're watching everything from a distance. And that's when the question starts to creep in, what's wrong with me? Why does everything feel so different now? Why can't I just be normal again? But nothing is wrong with you. You didn't break, you just became aware. You started noticing what was always there, the unspoken things, the hidden intentions, the difference between what people say and what they actually mean. And awareness changes everything, because once you see how much of human interaction is shaped by habit, expectation, and subtle performance, it becomes hard to ignore it. That's when the distance grows. You start talking less, observing more, choosing silence over empty conversations. From the outside it looks like you've changed, like you've become distant or cold, but in reality you've just stopped pretending. You've stopped forcing yourself to enjoy things that don't feel real, and that creates a gap between you and everyone else. And that gap feels heavy. Because even though you see more, understand more, and notice more, it doesn't always feel like a gift. Most of the time it feels like isolation. It feels like you're surrounded by people but disconnected at the same time, like you're present physically but somewhere else mentally. And part of you wishes you could go back to when things felt simple, when you didn't overthink everything, when you didn't see through every interaction. But you can't. Once your mind reaches this point, it doesn't go back. You can't unsee patterns, you can't ignore what you now understand, and trying to force yourself back into that old version only makes the disconnect worse. So you're left in this space where you don't fully belong to who you used to be, but you don't fully feel connected to the people around you either. And that's the part no one talks about. Awareness is quiet, but it's heavy. It separates you in ways that are hard to explain, and it makes normal things feel unfamiliar. But at the same time, it's not something negative, even if it feels that way sometimes. Because the same awareness that makes you feel disconnected is the same awareness that protects you, that helps you see intentions clearly, that stops you from getting lost in things that aren't genuine. You don't hate people. You just stopped accepting what doesn't feel real anymore. And even though that makes things feel harder right now, it also means that when you do connect with someone, it won't be surface level, it won't be forced, and it won't be empty. It will actually mean something. So maybe the problem isn't that you've changed for the worse. Maybe it's that you've started seeing things as they are, and you're still learning what to do with that.